So today is day 292 of showing up consistently. So I've been working today for a lot of today. Actually, how my day went was I did a I did 17 kilometer this morning jogging. Yes, I did 17 kilometer jogging this morning. I realized tomorrow is Friday and tomorrow I have to get something done. Getting that thing on Friday means I have to take my bicycle. So I just figured that instead of cycling tomorrow and not doing any jogging this week. Why not I jog today, then cycle tomorrow? So my cycling tomorrow is just going to be on the low. I'm not going to be stressing myself too much. I'm just going to be pedaling gently because of my leg. Although my legs are not weak at all. So it just remind me that because I've been doing it already consistently, so I'm not going to feel much pain in it. So after doing that, I came back home, do one or two, and then go to my assignment. Yes, I go to my assignment and after my assignment, I go to work. I edited 2 videos. So that's just basically what I did today. But what I want to talk about today is not that. What I want to talk about is I had this conversation with somebody today, and the conversation is about freelancing and corporate world. So I was telling the person that first and foremost, you need to have, you need to work in a corporate world first. You need to work in a 9 to 5 first. Then it is only after you work 9 to 5 that's when you're going to determine whether you want to keep working the 9 to 5 or you want to do the remote work or you want to work on the freelance side. Now, I'm not saying that you should not start with you should not start with freelancing or what. What I'm advising is that start with corporate work first. Now, it does not matter if it is in person, it does not matter if it is hybrid, it does not matter if it is remote, as long as it is corporate work, not this gig economy. Yes. Because with that you'll be able to learn structure. You will learn structure, you meet with people, you will learn politics, you learn workspace politics, you will learn I'm not going to say resilience because you learn resilience when you build resilience. You learn to be accountable or too. You learn to be less egotistical. Another thing is that you will learn to be how will I put it? You will learn to respect authority. Just those things like this are very, very important because if you are your own boss, if you start out as your own boss, you don't want to take shit from anybody. That's just one. And you not taking shit from anybody. Some people are just bad. The way they talk is bad to people. So it's just bad man. But some of these things you need to learn. You need to learn that you are not always right, one. And if you are doing freelancing, you may be thinking everything that you are doing is right. Because nobody has ever called you out before, one. And it has never, everything that you have always been doing has always been bringing results, even though if it is minute results. But in the corporate world, if you do anything wrong, oh my goodness, they will call you out on it. They will hold you accountable, they will hold you responsible. All those stuff like that. So you cannot learn most of those stuff in freelancing. So you have to do corporate work first. You have to work in an organization that has structure. For you to be able to structure your for you to be able to structure your freelancing work. So that's what I was trying to tell the person. I even use myself as an example because when I started working since I was 17, I worked as a teacher. I worked as a teacher 7 to 4 p.m. I worked as I worked in a bakery. I worked as a bakery. I worked as a packager in the bakery first. Then I was promoted to sales rep, or should I say sales manager, whatever. My job there was that I followed the bus driver to all our customer that takes bread from us. So I make sure that I sell everything. Sha. I make sure that we sell almost everything inside that bus before you come back home. Those things taught me resilience. That taught me patience because the amount of people I dealt with, people that want to buy on credit, all those stuff like this, and me, It stresses my life a lot. That's not even the only thing. I also learned to keep late nights too because I have to be at work by 7 o'clock in the morning, and that 7 o'clock does not mean that I will go home by 7. Now the mode of operation say 7 to 7 for people that are working in packaging. So that's when I used to go home before 7 to 7. But this one does not have closing time because sometimes I may be out delivering bread. I may be out late even delivering bread. Maybe around what will I call it? I may be out around 9 p.m. and I'm still going to deliver bread. And by the time I'm done, it's already 1 o'clock. There was a night where our boss had issue. Oh my goodness. The boss had issue. There was rain too. Me and my boss, me and the owner of the bakery, we came down to push this bus. Me, him, his wife, and our driver. We were all in the bus. So he came down to push the bus. To me and him, he came down to push the bus under the rain. Oh my goodness, that day was not funny. I got home around 1 p.m. that day. So you know all these things, they teach me something. Sitting down at home, I will just be surfing the internet, just be working, looking for more jobs. I'm not. You need to learn some hardcore. Some yes, I call it hardcore because those one I learn online, I call it soft core. You need to learn some hardcore grit, some hardcore resilience, some hardcore there are some things that will test your patience. So that bread factory tested my patience, but I did not quit until when I wanted to return back to school. That was when I just signed my resignation letter, and they were asking me that if I come back, if I come back and I need to just work for a meantime, I can come to their list. I was like, no problem. For them to want me to come back again, that means that I did a good job. And when I left there, although I did not really like the place at all at first when I was working, when I left there, there are some lessons that I had learned there, that I'm putting to use now. After that, I worked in an hospital. Yes, in an hospital for my NYC. Oh my God, I was the only male in that hospital, apart from the doctor. I was the one in charge of the pharmacy, the drugs in the pharmacy. I was the one in charge of the drugs in the store. I was the one in charge of the generator. I was mainly most of the things I was the one in charge, except taking care of patients. I was the one in charge of collecting money too from patients. So all this, if anything happened and nobody collected, you say that, and you say you are here and you call yourself a man, well, very funny. If there's no fuel to fix it, to put on the generator, I'm the one. They will call me when I'm at home. If the generator is not starting, they will call me when I'm at home. That how can you leave the work when you know that how can you leave work for women when you know that there is no fuel in the generator to start it? You are supposed to start this thing. I hear a lot of words, but those things they taught me that well, listening to there's always an higher authority that you have to give feedback to. So I learned those things. Now I decide to create my own company now. Now because of this company I've created, I need structure. Now this thing that I've learned before is helping me to add structure to my company. Now now, if I want to create a bread factory, I know the rudiment of creating a bread factory. If I want to create an hospital, I know the rudiment of creating an hospital, running an hospital to not get into loss. If I want to create a if I want to create a school, just let me say primary school, second or basic one, or just the basic school. I know the rudiment of creating a school. Now, all these things you cannot learn it if you are freelancing up and down, you are doing gig work up and down. Okay, let's say you do gig work with somebody that is running washing, should I call it? Let's say you are doing gig work with somebody that is running a consulting business. He or she will not tell you everything the in toto because you are not there with them. You are only doing gig. You're only doing gig work. Let's say they give work today, they give work next month, they give work 3, 4, 5 months, then this work stop coming. Now, there's no assurance that you'll be able to create that type of business and scale that type of business because you do not have the technique, you do not have the in-depth knowledge. Me like this, I have the in-depth knowledge of working in an hospital, of creating anything around hospital. I have the in-depth knowledge. I have the in-depth knowledge of creating business around hospital, even without me creating business inside the hospital, creating business around the hospital. I have in-depth knowledge of creating business around school premises. I have the in-depth knowledge of creating business around what do you call it, around bakery. So These are the things that you learn when you work in the corporate work. If it is formal or informal, you will learn this thing. So to the extent that when you go out and you want to and you are stranded and you just have money that you can use to run capital, the first business that will come to your mind is the business that you've been into before, and you've been there physically before, that you've done, that you've seen how they scale it, how they run things day to day in, day out. So these are the things that you will learn when you do corporate work first, before you do your own work. You learn structure, you learn a lot of things. Don't let me just go back and forth on it. So that's basically what I want to talk about today. Anyway, I hope you find this very useful. And if you are just starting out there, if you are somebody that is just starting out there, I will recommend you go for internships in corporate organization so you can learn all these things. Then after the internship, there's a possibility that they may want to keep you there. They want you to stay, depending on how they see your value, depending on the value that you give them. Now, it is now up to you to decide if you want to go into the gig economy or you want to stay with them. Now, the funniest part is that, and the most beautiful part is that you can still remain there while doing your gig economy. Because I will tell you, when I was working in the hospital, I go there 7 to 5 p.m. Sometimes I left there. The earliest I've ever left that hospital was I think 6:45 p.m. That was the earliest. Sometimes I left there by 1 p.m., sometimes 12 p.m., 12 a.m., 1 a.m. That's in the morning the next day. So, so by the time I get home, I will still find time to do client work. So that's just it. When you learn to match two things together, you'll be used to stress one. And when you'll be used to stress one, there are some things that you see as just something that you can do ASAP. So now when you now leave that your main job, your 9 to 5 work, and you concentrate on your freelancing, you will be more grounded. I don't know how to put it. Now there will be less stress. There will be less stress. You have more bandwidth. You have bandwidth to take more jobs, and you know how to manage your time to be able to get the most of it. Now, because most freelancers that are working, they don't usually do that work until it is due. It's almost time to submit. That's when they will now start rushing, rushing, rushing. Because I have a gig on Upwork that the client came to me. I sent the proposal. He replied me back. He told me that I need this thing done ASAP within the next 5 hours. And he told me he gave it to somebody already, but the person just flopped, and the person was now giving him excuses in the 9 minutes. So I took it, and my own policy is this: if you give me a job, I will give you if you give me a job and I know that this job will take me 4 days to complete, I will give you 8 days. I will multiply the day by two, 8 days. That 4 more days is for buffer. So I will use that first 4 days to complete it. Then 1 or 2 more days, I will use it to adjust it. Then I'll send you the draft. And almost every time, 99.9% of every time, the first draft is always good. It's always good to go. That's how I do my thing. Sometimes, if I take a gig and I know that this gig is going to take me like 5 hours to complete, and I charge you some awesome amount of money. Now, I'm not charging you based on that hour that is going to take me to complete. I'm charging you based on the experience that I have had, the sufferness I have suffered, everything I have done to be able to gain that knowledge that I'm to be able to gain that knowledge and all my experience that can make me do that thing in 5 hours or less. That's what you are paying for. Now, I will finish it within that 5 hours, but I will still tell you that 3 days. 3 days. So I will submit to you the second day, the day two, at the end of day two. So you'll be able to review. And most of the time, like I said earlier on, 99.9% of the time, there's no need to do another draft. That's just the final. Just some touch on maybe design or moving this one to somewhere like this, or adding something that you just give me to add. So that's just it. So what I'm trying to say is, remember, always try to get corporate work first before you decide to go full mode into freelancing. So that's just what I'm going to say for day 292 of showing up consistently. See you tomorrow on day 293. Bye for now.